What's up, y'all? So this video right here is going to be on the Cambodian Americans. I want to kind of share with you some of the history and some of the stuff that I've been learning. Alright, so in America, most of these individuals, Cambodians, they arrived here in the States in the 1980s. Over 80% of them did. A lot of agencies helped sponsor these Cambodians. They had camps in Thailand and the Philippines. The immigration eventually declined in the 1990s. This is around the 1990s, and where the Cambodians settled to. Around 150,000 came during this time. Half of them were in California. Long Beach had the most at 20,000. A lot of them were also in Massachusetts. The average age for a Cambodian to come over here to States was around 20 years old. Almost half citizens. The family size was 5. 20% of the females headed the families, meaning they were the ones that were in charge. Half of the Cambodians in 1990 were on welfare. Alright, but the longer that they were here in this country, the less unemployment that there was, because these individuals could not find work. It was hard for them to find a job. A lot of these people opened donut shops because they couldn't find work elsewhere, so they decided to open up their own business. Education, half of the Cambodians had less than 6 years of education, but there were some educated Cambodians. And these individuals, one of the problems that they faced was a language barrier, because they didn't speak English. They didn't know English very well because of their education that they had previously received was from Cambodia. So when they come here, they have this issue. They don't speak the language very well. They don't speak English very well. And the low high school dropout rate, it was at 6%. So it was pretty low. Cambodians focus more on the economics than the politics. The older Cambodians, they're more concerned about what's going on in their own country, in Cambodia. They're ones that are still, they want to know what's going on, even though that they live here in the States, but they still like to know what's going on in their own country. They keep up on the current events. The younger generation, the younger Cambodians, they don't really care what's going on back in their own country. Some of these Cambodians, they had post-traumatic stress syndrome. Basically, what that is they're reliving something that had previously happened to them. Say they lived back in Cambodia, and with something traumatic happened. All right, so they relive those memories and those moments. Stuff like that, it doesn't really go away. The comparison with the other Southeast Asians is that 84% of them were Cambodian, 45% were Vietnamese, and only 24% were Hmong. They were Buddhists, alright? Wats are handed out locally, and if you're wondering what a Wats is, it's a temple. That's what they call a temple. Most of these people visit on religious holidays. The majority of the people who go to these are women and the older Cambodians. Cambodians believe in karma. They believe in reincarnation, which means being reborn again. And they believe in spirits. How was a child raised? How was a Cambodian child raised? They were raised to respect their superiors, that being their parents, their teachers, the monks, people who are older than them. They care for their parents in old age. It's tradition that the parents, when the parents get old, the children are supposed to care for them. When the parents can no longer care for themselves, can no longer take care of themselves, then it's sort of the responsibility of the child to take care of them. And if they decide not to take care of their parents when they no longer can care for themselves, then they're perceived as bad children. And both genders, they wanted kids. They both desire to have kids. The rules for the girls were a little different than the rules for the boys. The rules for the girls were basically to clean and cook. Some of them were shy and modest. They served their elders and their guests first. So the rules for the boys were basically they had to work outside. They had to study really hard because Asian parents want their kids to do really well. They want their kids to attend college, obviously, and get their degree. You know, that's what they want for their kids. They basically want what they never had. They never had the opportunity. You know, they sacrificed a lot. You know, the parents of first generations, they sacrificed a lot to have their kids a better life, have a better life for themselves, and ultimately for their children have more opportunities than what they had. Because as a parent, you should always want the best for your kids. And the boys, they received more punishment than the girls did. A lot of these Cambodians, they don't date interracially. They don't date outside their race or their ethnic group. The wedding ceremonies that they had were at the bride's house. They had to pay for the wedding, and the gifts that they would receive would be food, jewelry, and of course money. If the bride was pregnant, then you would probably have a lower turnout. You probably wouldn't have a huge turnout. Then say if people didn't know that she was pregnant or not. You know, the reason for this being is they feel that you're supposed to be married first before you have kids, not the other way around. You know, they look down on this. So it's not a good thing for a woman to be pregnant before the wedding or before she gets married. You know, that's just something that they don't like. All right. So I was looked down on, and your wedding, there probably wouldn't be as many people attending your wedding because of this reason. Engagement, they got big offerings. They got gifts as in twos, his and hers. How the ceremonies would work would be they had this progression. They had the announcement of gifts. They did some hair cutting ritual that they do. The monks have to give their blessings for the wedding. They did some type of food. They did this foot washing and flowers. They have a 3 sets of flowers arrangements that they do. They also do the tying of wrists with a string, and they would have their wedding banquet in a restaurant. And guests were greeted by the bride and groom and the attendants. And they would also have a band playing music, and people would be dancing. Alright, so that's a little bit about the Cambodian Americans. There wasn't a lot of information, but this is sort of what we've been learning. This is what we just got done learning in my Asian American Studies class. So I wanted to kind of share what I'm learning to you guys. I had to record this video twice. The second half of this video I had to record again. I had to re-record everything because my camera died on me, so I had to use my phone. So that's why I recorded it the first time with my phone. So that the quality of the video and the sound was really, really bad. So I had to re-record it again. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Alright, so I guess I'll talk to you guys a little later on. Alright, later.